You're such an asshole.
Jackson sent me a nice request. He says, Guten Tag, asshole. I'm that trucker that asked you about the driver shortage. Can you do a Clary original on whatever you want to talk about? Economics, dating life, whatever you want. Name the price, thanks. And then he made a little penis sign with a C, equal sign, equal sign, capital B. Thank you. And I do. So I do have something I have actually an entire list, probably approaching 50 or 100 ideas I just haven't gotten to. So this will be one of many. And we'll tell you. All right, now I would like to tell you a story. You will now listen to me. Got a buddy. Single, by the way, gentlemen. Dog, shut up. Oh, God, I'm going to kill that dog. It's not my dog. And no, I'm not mean to it. Female friend of mine. Single, by the way, 36. Pretty good shape, actually. Conservative, likes guns, all that other stuff. All right. And I was like, what's it like dating? I mean, because she's been single her entire life. And careerist, because you all think that there's no cost to the career. You all think there's no cost to the career. And she was telling me some horror stories about guys who like post, same thing that men face. Guy posting a picture on the dating profile that's 10 years old, failing to mention that he's divorced, failing to mention he's separated but not legally divorced, overweight, all this other stuff. But probably the worst one that ever, probably the most cringy story I've ever heard was that she went on a date with a guy and she could tell he was nervous, and she's really laid back. She's like, all right, I understand every guy's going to be nervous. And so I usually go out with someone 2 or 3 times. I thought that was very admirable of her. And she says, this guy was like talking to something odd about the way he was talking. And then I was about to say something. He says, wait, let me do that over again. It's not how I rehearsed it. And then he went on to talk some more, but she was flabbergasted because she's like, did he rehearse a conversation? And I won't deny that in the past, I wouldn't come up with somewhat witty and funny things to say on a date. Of course, every guy's a little bit nervous. Oh, what are we going to talk about? But usually, inevitably, you just hang out and you relax and like a normal human being, you have conversations. And if any of you boys are really worried about oh God, what am I going to talk about? Here's the perfect thing. You always ask about her, and you do not volunteer any information unless 1, she asks, or 2, you got 3 bits of information about her, and you always say something about yourself that is related to something she said about herself. And when you approach it like that job, essentially is what it is, you don't worry about. But that's neither here nor there. But among all the other stories, that one stood out, and it's echoed by the handful of other women that I've talked to in my life. And we even had a client before this one who was of the female persuasion. The quality of men is out there. And whereas on this channel, I focus on the women because the majority of my clients, the majority of my audience is male. They're interested in women. It's not to say that the men of today are high quality caliber people. And it's crap. You guys got crap. And you did it to yourself. Go on the previous video where this is a recovering feminist. And she's like, oh, I can't find any masculine men. I'm like, well, you didn't order masculine men. Your entire, post-pubescent existence, feminists and women have told men they wanted girls, essentially sensitive, caring. And if you want, there are little nan seeds, and then you plant them in the ground and you water them with feminist leftist propaganda. And don't be surprised 30 years later or 35 years later when they're a bunch of millennial soy boys living at home and have limp-wristed arms and can't protect you if an assailant comes and attacks you guys. So I am somewhat sympathetic. I understand the choice is not that good. But allow me to tell you another story. Now, I would like to tell you a story. And this goes back to the 80s, because in the 80s, they're still doing reruns of the show called Leave It to Beaver. And I have to act like no one's seen it before because you guys like, what's Knight Rider? Hey, you see that new show, Walker, Texas Ranger? I wonder what that's about. Like, that was a Chuck Norris show back in the late 80s, early 90s. What's MacGyver? But there was a show in the 50s, I think the 60s as well, called Leave It to Beaver. And there was June and Ward Cleaver. They were your standard 50s married wife, standard nuclear couple, and they had 2 kids, Wally and Theodore, I think is his real name, but they call him the Beaver. And what's up, Beef? And Wally and the Beaver, basically, the plots generally were themed around where Wally and the Beaver were young boys, and they would they come across a situation and they have to make a moral decision. And with simple boy logic, they would make the wrong decision. Or Eddie Haskell, they had a bad influence, Eddie Haskell, who's a saint by most modern day comparison of young boys today. Eddie Haskell would always get him in trouble. Oh, let's sell bubble gum down by the bowling alley or whatever. These were the plots back then. Dog, shut up. Don't worry, guys. In 5 days, I won't be here. And then the dog will be gone. And when I come back, that dog is going to be gone when I revisit the Southern Command. So then what would happen is somehow the parents would figure out. Well, June and Ward would figure it out. And then Ward, the father, would have to have a chat with Wally and the Beeve as to what was wrong. Oh, God, no, get away. This is not an invitation. Go away. Shut up. Sorry, guys. So Wally and the Beeve, they'd have a talking. Ward would never get angry. He's, well, Beaver, it's because of this and that. And that's why you don't lie. Even if it might spare somebody's feelings. You don't lie. You always tell the truth. And then there'd be a moral. And by the time the 80s had the reruns, the boomers, who were my age, maybe even younger in their 30s and 40s, were openly mocking and ridiculing not only the nuclear family, but women would always say, oh, what do you think? We're June Cleaver. We're going to stay attractive and cook for you, take care of the children. And then like, oh, what is it, Ward? Oh, look how boring and square Ward is. And after hearing the dating stories, not just my friend, but all these other gals, and looking at all the, and you got to take it with a bit of salt, like, Boldy and what was it? They'll come out with anything sensational to click on. But then you get some serious articles like, economically uneconomic men, or men aren't just cutting it. Like there's a deficit, and oh my God, there's not enough male college graduates. Yeah, because men are smarter, not going to a fucking overpriced college. And so you get and you girls are having a horrible time, just a horrible time. And so now I have a question for you and all the baby boomer women who are now like on the 3rd divorce or whatever, and you're lonely, you're going to die a spinster. Gen X women who made fun of June Clear. How is Ward looking now? Is Ward looking pretty good? Is Ward, because let me tell you about Ward Cleaver. Ward Cleaver was, I believe, an engineer and architect. Hang on. It's amazing. Spank the dog and it likes me even more. Oh, well. And we're getting back to Ward. Ward was the man who made good money. Maybe he wasn't a sexy executive investment banker or Christian Grey. He was kept and kempt. He always had a suit, very professionally. Stayed in shape, a handsome man. Was mature, reserved, and above all else, reliable. And now that you gals are in your 30s, client 40, my other buddy upper 30s, and Lord knows what age women are now writing the economically unattractive men. How's he looking now? Because I could have swore you made fun of that. You made fun of a reliable, stable, well-dressed, mature guy, had his act together, had his shit together. Are you still going to mock and ridicule Ward? Because here's the other thing. Aside from it being a nuclear family, Ward, you know what? I think Ward, he might have voted Republican. Pretty sure about that. Pretty sure. But now, see, then you, swipe left if you vote Republican. Oh, swipe left if you go to church. Oh, do you believe that there should, in a traditional marriage where the wife would maybe take care of the kids and make food? Oh, you barbarian, you Philistine, you caveman. Oh, but then you all get these agreeable, sackless fucks, these millennial now Gen Z soy boys. And then you're like, well, why can't I find a real man? Well, you made fun of it in the 80s. There was the guy, the stand-up virtuous guy, the reliable husband. He's very handsome, too. Hugh Beaumont was the actor's name. Barbara Billingsley, she was also an attractive woman, of course. But as a young kid, you didn't think about that. Oh, well, those are the parents. Oh, geez, how Beeve going to get out of this one? Oh, Wally made a bad choice. Oh, here comes Ward. But as an older man, now I look at it, Hugh Beaumont was a handsome man. Now, I know he was an actor. I know Ward Cleaver, the Cleavers in general, was fictional. But man, did you guys, and this is particularly to my generation, because you girls just lampooned the ever-living fuck out of those guys, didn't you? The nuclear family, June. And now, by the way, gentlemen, if you're wondering, I've got to figure out a way to measure this. But the percent of women that finally tip their hand and confess, all I wanted was to get married to be taken care of by a husband. It's starting to be like, oh, is that beneath the veneer? Because I didn't really know. There's no way to tell. It's one of the biggest kept guarded. Right next to Fort Knox is the bank where women actually tell the truth. And I'm betting, my economic spidey senses are starting to get that the majority of women really just wanted what June Cleaver had. They want just to have kids, have the husband make the money, take care of the kids, but they couldn't, because strong, independent women couldn't tell feminism to F off and actually be strong, independent women and do their own thing. No, you had to belong to the team. You had to belong to the board. And every once there's a little crack, a little fissure, get a little light. I really just wanted, you wanted Ward, did you? Why did you tell every guy in your generation that was dumb as hell, that was laughable, that was even insulting to be Ward Cleaver? Because I don't know how old Ward or Hugh Beaumont was when he did it, but Hugh Beaumont was in World War II. Not Hugh Beaumont. Well, maybe he was too, but Ward Cleaver was in World War II. Let's say he was 18, from 40 to 29. Let's say it's the 50s, 20. So he's 29, 30s, mid 30s. He's probably in his 40s by that time. The actor, but what's his name? Ward Cleaver was probably in his mid 30s as a actor. And now most men in their 30s live either at home, off the government dole, or off their parents, or a combination of all three, and do not generate the income to pay for a household family. And I'm going to point this out, ladies, and it's too late for you, okay? It takes a long time to grow a man, takes a long time to grow a tree. You can't just flip the switch and every soy boy, former hipster douchebag from Brooklyn, New York is all of a sudden going to turn Ward Cleaver, responsible guy who brings in 65 grand a year. But you girls did this to yourselves. You said, we don't want that. That's bad. Oh my God. You weren't honest either with yourselves or the men that was your generation, which is the ones you have to date and marry from. And all you did was make fun of nuclear families, say that you wanted this strong, independent feminism thing. All right, fine, guys. All right, you're equal. Okay, fine. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be treated equal. There's nothing wrong with that. Fair treatment on the lawn. But the big thing was like, oh my gosh, how insulting to be June. And then as the dawn sets on your beauty and your eggs, and you're now 42, and well, I kind of want to find a guy. Oh, what guy? Well, there's no good men out here. Are these the men you brought up on a steady diet of Marxist feminist bullshit? And now they're sensitive and kind and caring, and they're all Marxist socialists, and they never got jobs because they thought they were entitled to free food, clothing, and shelter and student loan bailouts? Really? You're not attracted to that? Let me show you this guy called Ward. Remember Ward? Remember this guy? You said you didn't want this guy. These soy boy futzes over here, these are the ones you said you wanted. Well, here you go. by the tens of millions. Here you go. Look, I wanted Ward. Too late. Too late. You had to be June to get Ward. You had to be a loving, supporting woman. And I don't know if you knew this about Leave It to Beaver. June would, of course, have a hand in managing the boys. Obviously, teach them lessons too. But inevitably, if it was serious, Ward would have to come in and explain it. Why? Because the guy was the head of the household. There was one captain. And those of you, the woman has to submit to the man. Not necessarily, not in my personal. One person leads, the other has to follow. Doesn't work any other way. And I'm even for places where it's not the norm, but it's the exception, but it does happen, where the woman has the natural personality to be the leader and the guy is the one that's second in command. But by God, there has to be one lead and one follow. You cannot have two captains. And statistically speaking, if you wanted to find a Ward, you would have had to think of what Ward wanted. Ward didn't propose to June because June was a fat, sassy, talking, body-positive land sow. He's like, man, I want to tap that after fighting Nazis. Thank God. Look at this. Over here, a gal I want to bang. Wally and the Beef, they weren't adopted, if you were wondering. And then not only was it that, it was like, okay, are you going to take care of these kids while I go and do all the work and everything? And we're going to work as a team and you're going to love me and support me. And I'm going to love you and support you. Yeah. Oh, like teamwork, not adversaries. You're not going to accuse me of blind or what do they call it? Unconscious institutional sexism. I'm not the oppressor. There's not this cardinal sin because I was born with the peen. I somehow am oppressing you with it. We're not even going to lower or degrade ourselves to such a childish and stupid and ultimately wrong and not real problem or debate. You like me, I like you, we're in love. You want to help each other out? Okay. Oh, no. It's not on the menu. Did I just tell women they couldn't have something? So for the original, aside from beating the dog, which I didn't beat, by the way, spanked it, you could spank dogs. And stop whining. Imagine that discipline. Oh, I want to figure that out. And that's why I want to do the original. Because I'm old now and I get to see it. I get to see the show. See, now you younger men, you don't get to see the show yet. Your show will show. The show times will be in about your mid to late 30s. That's when it will start. The plot will begin. Oh, what's happening? And your show will be seeing all the hypocrites and liars. This just isn't the women that said they didn't need you, by the way, and that the careers were more important than love and all that. But boomer, and I guess in your cases, Gen X bosses who lied to you about everything, politicians failing, everyone being miserable, the big is beautiful, all that. That living the lie catches up with these people. And it would be one thing if they just lived their lie in peace and quiet and left you alone, but they couldn't. They just couldn't. Because I got lorded and lectured by all these people since I literally grade school. And they were going to go this way. And they were, in this particular case, strong, independent, we don't need no man, fish, bicycle, girl boss, trademark. Okay, go. And there was one gal, I think she's 36, and she finally comes crying, hey, it's not true. You can't have it all. I had to get married at 36. Oh, I had to freeze my eggs. Oh. That's the show. And you get to enjoy it and watch it. And the show is called I Told You So. The show is Reap What You Sow. The show is called Sleep in the Bed You Made. And you get to watch all these, I think it's not that they're hypocrites, these arrogant, hubristic assholes who thought they knew better, treated you like shit. Either individually or because of a trait. And I'm not even talking necessarily sexes or races or anything like just a bunch of arrogant, self-entitled, self-absorbed assholes who think the point and purpose in life was some vain false god like themselves or religion or politics or an education or career. It is wonderful to see that in the end, biology wins. and that all these sassy top who just made fun of Ward Cleaver. And how dare they? Oh, you mean genetically, biologically, deep down inside, I bet most of you want to be June Cleaver and wish you had a Ward by now. I bet you would gladly trade in your noodly armed soy boy who can barely pay like his half of utilities for Ward. I'm not expecting any of you down below to say this or confess to it. I just see cracks in the vault next to Fort Knox, where the girls keep all their truth. It's just a little crack, shines out. Oh, they want masculine men. No, but the facade and the chest puffing and I just, because now let's just admit it, Ward Cleaver would be this awesome catch. He'd be this awesome. You would probably kill to have Ward Cleaver. Good looking, financially stable guy. All these gals like the dating profiles. Guy must have a job. I'm like, whoa, I thought Ward Cleaver had a job. Really stable, reliable job. No, but not that guy. I want to go and meet a guy. Do you want to go out sometime? But not you. So I'd be curious. To do a poll. Would you girls date this guy? And they show him a picture of Hugh Beaumont. Although I think Leave It to Beaver is still so iconic. I think the girls would. That's Ward Cleaver. Of course not. Ugh. So that's just what I want to know. I'm like, how's Ward Cleaver looking now? He's looking pretty good, I bet. Yeah, I don't think he had student debt. I think he had some equity built up in his home. Matter of fact, he might have even built his own garage. Did his own auto repair. Oh, let's go to the chat room, see if there's any super chats. Juando for €2. Cappy of Monte Cristo, come back with vengeance. Oh, God. Notice how the dog is not whining? Do you notice that? You should never spank your kids. Oh. Mm-hmm. Is that you know who also didn't get spanked? All the soy boys still living at home at 35 at Ward Cleaver's age. That the girls are like, why? Those guys weren't spanked. DigiNomad, $2 Canadian. Ex-Cosmo writer admits to selling line to sell women crap. Yep, I posted that article over on my blog. Yep. Captain Capitalism at blogspot.com if any of you were interested. Oh, by the way, for anyone tuning in, go subscribe to my other YouTube channel. It's Older Brother. Go to YouTube, search Older Brother, because me and Chad are going to podcast maybe tomorrow or the day after. DJ Aftershock for $5 generous. Ward Cleaver is known as the Thaddeus McThaddeus III and his MBA with a concentration in sales management with frat connections. Is that how women view Ward Cleaver now? Because that wasn't him. I don't think he had an MBA. I don't even know if he had a... Well, maybe he did. Because, going to Leave It to Beaver canon, there was an episode where Beaver lied to the kids at school and said that his dad was a submarine commander. When he wasn't, he was a land surveyor. He's like, it's very important. The Ward, well, there's nothing shameful about being a land surveyor. It's very important we had the right grading. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to get the supplies and the things up to... Beaver, it's not that you don't have to be a lie to impress people. You just tell them the truth. No, we can't have that guy as a dad or a husband. Hell no. So I don't think he was a dude bro frat boy. He might have had a degree in civil engineering for all we know. Hey, safety doc. Oh, Packers lost. Aaron Clary grew up just 100 miles from Lambeau Field. They could have used him in the stands today. I don't really care about Green Bay that much. I kind of like to see him win over other teams, but since the world hates Tom Brady and he's already got his new season with the Buccaneers, Rodgers or Brady could win. So I'm still excited. Are they off to the Super Bowl now? Adriano Ramos, our Greek agent in the field in Australia. Did Ward Cleaver have a double life like that Hogan's Hero guy? I like Petticoat Junction. A double. Oh, like Bob Crane? You mean the actor Hugh Beaumont? Did he have like the double life? Bob Crane had like a crazy life in the real world. I don't know. Hugh Beaumont. Somebody look him up. Somebody do a Clary test on him. I don't know. I like Petticoat Junction. I saw a couple episodes working security, and I just wasn't it some rancher had 3 hot daughters, and that was basically the plot. No one really cared, much about the plot. Me TV. That's what I'm going to watch when I'm old and in the nursing home. I'll just watch a bunch of Me TV. Watch Gunsmoke and Maverick, all those westerns. DJ Aftershock, $2. Madam Noor magazine says you can be an activist. Yes, you can be an activist for a living. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not joking when I say this. We are the most pro-female channel right here because I tell you the truth. And the, quote, women's magazines and sites and programs and all that just basically suck all the money out of women, young women, and destroy their lives. Hey, the Anthem vasectomy fund. How close are you to saving Anthem? Oh, we're about 230. Me and Chet, we'll do another fundraiser. We'll get the money. Yeah, we still need another $230 for Anthem's vasectomy fund. So if you want to donate money to Anthem's vasectomy fund, put in AV, and we'll make sure Anthem gets it. There you go. Sorry about the dog. That distraction will go. Maybe that dog learned its lesson. Maybe you won't whimper. Sad thing is, it's a pit bull. I thought you guys were supposed to be tough. All right, see you guys later. Toodles.